Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about the new Addams Family Rundown Review. So this show, I remember, it's kind of unique because it's like there aren't that many live action Addams Family like TV shows, right? So, it started off as a comic strip where nobody really had no name except for Wednesday. Then, they started in animation and then the live action one back in probably like the 60s or something, or 50s. And around the time they started coming on TV, where it was animation and stuff, they would, or like live action, they had to have names and everything. And the original black and white Addams Family TV show was kind of like this goth sitcom slash type comedy type show, right? And then, as we all know, out came the live action 2 movie starring Nicole Richie and Christina Richie. I'm getting my names messed up. My bad. I'm thinking of the other Wednesday whose name is Nicole. I'm getting my Wednesdays messed up. And Christina Richie and stuff. And the live action movies, those were like my favorite Addams Family, like anything, right? I loved those movies growing up as a kid because I had never seen the black and white one. And still to this day, I still have not seen the black and white one. It's available like everywhere. It's available on rerun TV shows. It's available on streaming for free. But I just like never watched it. I don't know. I just really don't like watching stuff in black and white that's too old, And so like when it comes to the movies, I love them to death. And so I was waiting for a third movie to come out, right? And it did and it didn't. See, what happened was the actor who played Gomez Addams in the live action movies, he sadly passed away. So the movie was kind of like in a standstill. They didn't know what they was really gonna do. And then so all of a sudden, a third movie comes out on direct to video and stuff. And it was called I'm getting my stuff mixed up again. It was called Addams Family Reunion. And it featured a completely different cast except for Lurch and the person who plays Thing, the hand. And so when I saw this, I'm just like, who are these people? Now I recognize Tim Curry now. And I recognize Dara Hannah now. But back then, I wasn't quite sure who they were. And plus, I was pissed. I'm just like, where's my third movie with the cast I like so much and stuff, And so I've never seen this because it was direct to video and I just wasn't going to buy it. But then, I saw it on YouTube. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get into this, man. It was just weird and bizarre and it just didn't feel the same. And so I just didn't finish it. One day I am curious, but I don't know if I can stomach it, And there's a reason why this was so different. The reason why it was so different, it was more friendlier, it was more comedic and everything. It was more colorful. And that's because of the man himself. No, not Becky Lynch. Hans Saban, the man responsible for Power Rangers. See, Saban's whole thing is that he wants entertainment for kids that's enjoyable for them so they won't be too scared and stuff. And he just wants to make them happy. Good quality and everything. It just sucks how he treats his Power Rangers cast. And that's one reason why the Neo Saban era of Power Rangers and the Hasbro era is so kid friendly now. When he took back over the rights to Power Rangers and the Neo Saban era, it got gooberish. It's still gooberish today because even though he sold the rights again, he is still an executive producer and he still has some swaying power and stuff, a little here and there as to what Power Rangers look like. But now Power Rangers is going in a much different direction with Netflix and stuff like that. So his kid-friendly days are like over. But he made sure the Addams Family was going to be very kid-friendly and stuff. And that's kind of one reason why I don't like reunions. So what does that have to do with the new Addams Family, you're wondering? Well, he produced that as well. However, I can stomach that one. Mainly for one reason. See, this came out in 1998 and lasted in 1999. It only lasted for one season, and it was a total of 65 episodes. Now, in 98, I didn't have cable. I didn't get it until like 2001 or something like that. And so one weekend I was spending the night at my cousin's house and they had cable. So it was a good, glorious weekend. I took a bunch of VS tapes I had, recording as much TV shows that I could that I loved in the past and new stuff I've never even seen before. And I was watching stuff I was allowed to watch and I was watching stuff I was not. And so like as I was watching, I was on a channel at that time called Fox Family Channel. I think it's called Freeform now. And so as I was watching, oh, no, okay, now I remember, yeah. It went from Fox Family Channel and then ABC bought it and then it became ABC Family and then it became Freeform. So back in the good old Fox Family days, I was watching stuff and they had a bunch of reruns of like Fox Kids shows. I'm like, cool, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that stuff I haven't seen in a long time. And so as I'm watching, there was a commercial promo for the new Addams Family. And I'm like, hey, what is that? And everything. I'm like, the Addams Family? I love the Addams Family. And so I'm just like, but who are these people and stuff? And why is Fester's face so gray looking and stuff? And so I was waiting and waiting and waiting for it to like show up. And I couldn't find it. Now back in those days, you couldn't just go on the internet and pull up your TV guide thing. You couldn't hit like the back button and do the TV guide feature on your TV. They did have a TV Guide channel, but if anybody remembers that, you know how slow that thing moved. Sometimes I would just be there for several minutes, just seeing everything that's coming up. It scrolls like up, and it went so slow. And it only had like maybe, like 2 or 3 hours to let you know what's coming on and stuff. And so I couldn't find it. I'm just like, man, when is this show coming on and everything? And so I missed it and I was not able to record it. But in 2001, when I got cable, they had plenty of reruns of the show. And then I watched it. And I have to say, it's similar to older Addams Family content and it's also new. Now, this show, some people particularly don't like this show. I like it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it so much more than the reunions thing. See, it has its goth feel, but not really. It's not as grim and dark as the two live action movies. They went away from that and brought in more color. The Addams Family themselves dress very morbid and goth, but everything around them is very colorful in the house. And that's because, you know, Saban and everything. Now, as for the black and white TV show, it has been made in color. And yes, there is color in the house. It's just not bright as this. Like, you see a lot of purple in this show. And one interesting thing about this that I never knew about until much later is that it's more similar to the old black and white television show than it is the movies. It's a sitcom, there's humor, and they rework a lot of the older episodes to match that of the like older black and white television show. So they will literally rip like an entire episode, slightly rework it to make it more modern and give it more modern jokes and everything. And that's really cool. So, you know, they're using their source material from the older TV show and stuff. And in fact, John Astin, who played Gomez Addams in the original TV show, he guest stars in about 2 episodes as Grandpapa Addams and everything. In fact, the new Gomez Addams, he mimicked his personality style based off of that of the older Gomez Addams, which is why he's more similar to that one as opposed to the live action one. Now, this is a combo of the old black and white one show and the two live action movies. They take certain personality traits from that of like, both like properties. Because, Gomez acts pretty much the way he does in the old black and white show. Fester in this is Gomez's brother as opposed to his uncle. And he was his brother as in the live action movies. But the uncle, he was Morticia's uncle in the whatchamacallem, old TV show. Grandmama, she is more similar to that of, I guess you could say, the live action movies, where she is Gomez's mother. As I think she was supposed to be Morticia's mother or something like that in the comics and stuff. Wednesday and Pugsley, they retain their torturous ways as they had been portrayed in that of the live action movies. And pretty much Lurch and Thing. Lurch gets a little bit more to do, other than just being like a zombie corpse type, like, Frankenstein looking thing. And he talks a bit more, but not chatty. Like he like, you rang, or I'm leaving, like type like that, And so, and it's really cool. Like there are some episodes where like Fester's girlfriend who's in prison breaks up with him. So he's searching for love. And like, he goes to like this dating type thing, and it's just a bunch of shenanigans that happens afterwards. 'Cause this show has a lot of shenanigans. There's an episode where Wednesday like runs away from home, and then the police have to go like looking for her because her family finally realizes she's not there. I used to remember more episodes that were similar to that of the original, but I forgot which ones those are. I'll have to go and look. And let's see. Pugsley is pretty much the same as he is in everything else. He's just there. There's really no storylines that revolve around him, except for when he falls in love with his teacher and he writes her a love letter, but it happens to be one of Gomez's old love letters to Morticia. And so like the teacher thinks Gomez is in love with her. There's an episode where we get to like find out how Gomez and Morticia met. Originally, Gomez was supposed to marry that of Morticia's sister. And it's funny because when Morticia is a teenager, she has pigtails and a dress similar to that of Wednesday. A lot of these episodes actually feature that of Fester and revolve around him. Now, the personality traits in these characters are very much different. Oh wait, there's also an episode where Wednesday makes like a love potion and gives it to Fester so he can make this woman fall in love with him. There's an episode where this guy on a motorcycle crash lands in front of the Gomez's house, or the Addams house, and so Wednesday crushes on him and stuff like that. It's just a bunch of wacky type episodes. Also, the show also focused more on the Gomez and Morticia. There's an episode where like I think Wednesday gets like an F in like art, and so they hire like a famous artist to like help her, but I think he's like a scammer. But also Morticia has a very artistic side in this show. There's one where Wednesday raises cousin Vad from like the dead, and he hates Gomez and tries to kill him and stuff. Grandmama doesn't really get no solo episodes. Oh, sadly, the stars that play Grandmama and Uncle Fester have passed away, and it's so sad and tragic. Now, their personalities are a bit more upbeat. Well, except for Pugsley and Wednesday. I'll get into them a little bit later. Gomez in this, like I said before, he's pretty much like the old black and white Gomez. He's peppy, he's perky, he loves the sword play, fencing. Every time Morticia speaks, I think French or something like that, he goes like crazy and starts kissing her arm. He loves Morticia to death, and I mean to death. He's like crazy over her and stuff. Every time a neighbor comes over, he always scares the crap out of them by like being his um, very like out there kind of self, like they think it's torture, but he thinks it's like all fun and games and stuff. And now he is played, trying to remember the guy's name. Glenn Tarrento, I think that's how you say his name. And he's more heavier set, similar to how Gomez is in the comics and animation and stuff. He only became skinny, of course, with the old black and white television show. Now, Ellie Harvey, she plays Morticia. I've always been a fan of every Morticia. They just look amazing. And this one has more pale looking skin as opposed to the movies. Now her skin color does tend to change throughout the show. It's more of a pale white at some times, and other times it's more of a grayish color that matches that of Fester and Lurch. And so she is more loving, she's more upbeat. She loves her family to death. She loves her kids, but sometimes she doesn't always approve of their torturous behavior, but of course in that grim, morbid kind of way. She shares a lot of scenes with that of Gomez. She has like her garden and her wild, crazy plants. She loves to do art. Now, this Morticia does something different that no other Morticia does. She constantly smiles throughout the show. And as we all know, Morticia really never smiles in any other property for the most part. Now, there is a reason for this. The actress has said online that, like, even though she's never met Saban, she was told by the, showrunner of the show from, like, the head that she should, like, smile more so that she won't scare little kids. Because I guess because, her grayish skin tone, and you know how Morticia sometimes in the movies she looks like ghoulish, but in like a sexy kind of way, but in a mean, grumpy kind of way. But it's more of a haunting, beautiful kind of look. And so he wanted her to smile more so that she wouldn't scare the little kiddos and everything and stuff. And just like with every other Morticia, she has that slim like figure. Now, the actress actually does appear as she regularly does in real life with brown hair and no ghoulish makeup and stuff. She there's one time where the TV's on and somebody's watching it. And so like there's an actress on there and it's that same actress. So people can see what she looks like in real life and stuff. Michael Roberts, I think that's how you say his name. He plays Fester. This Fester, it has a very high pitched voice. He's gray. This man has like no sunlight. He loves explosions. He's constantly getting blown up on the show. And of course, he never dies. He wants to find love because, his girlfriend dumped him and everything. And his whole thing is helping the kids in their torturous ways. He does the whole put the light bulb in the mouth and it lights up because he's very electrical for some reason. He has a lot of static electricity. He's an inventor. He's always inventing stuff. And, mostly he doesn't like it when people don't approve of his habits and stuff because he doesn't understand why the world's like, so happy and fluffy and everything, and it should be more like chaotic and like and grim and stuff. But he's a really cool addition to this show. Like I really like him. I miss that actor. Grandmama doesn't really have nothing to do in like the show. That's kind of common in most Addams Family type things. I'm not even sure if she's a witch in this. I know she makes, I'm not even sure she makes like potions all that much. I don't really remember much about her, but sadly she is dead. I love her hair in this thing. I don't know if it was real or not. I've never been able to find a real picture of her. But I do remember her being very sweet like on the show. Grandmama is played by Betty Phillips. Lurch is the butler. And he is played by John DeSantis. And so he's just like, he's very gray, just like Fester. And he's kind of like a corpse, kind of like a Frankenstein type thing. He talks in a very deep voice. He does talk a bit more than any other lurch. Most lurches just like stand there and be all like, you rang. But he says a bit more and stuff. He's big, he's bulky. There are a couple of storylines that not necessarily revolve around him, but he's in the show a lot. And there's one episode, I think, when he comes like a singer and everything. Well, he's not really singing. He's just like, his voice like, you rang, you rang, you rang, something like that, you know. And so he becomes like a superstar overnight and leaves the family. But of course, that doesn't last long. Now, Stephen Fox, he plays Thing, and he, for the first couple episodes, you really don't see much of him. I guess because the CGI to do his hand costs a little too much, but he does appear in the show. There's one episode where he sleeps in like that kind of like, I forget, some kind of like box type thing. And I think he runs away at some point when he feels like the family isn't really paying attention to him. His most interactions with Lurch, they have a lot of scenes together. There's nothing really much to say about him, to tell you the truth. Now we get on to the kids. Oh boy. Okay, I'm not sure how to say her last name. Nicole Fugro, Fugira, something like that. She plays Wednesday. I like this actress. Boy, she reminds me so much of the one from the live action movies. Now, she's the only person who came over from the third movie, the Addams Family Reunion. And here in this show, she's very dark. She's very morbid. She's always torturing Pugsley and stuff. And so the thing is, like, Christina Ricci is my favorite Wednesday. Because she has more personality to the role and her acting's a bit better. Now, in this show, sadly, this actress, she talks in such a monotone type way that you're not really sure if she can act or not. But I do love the way she talks in this. That monotone, morbid type voice is very like haunting. I'm trying to remember how it sounds. It's kind of like to torture a person is best done when they're wide awake. Like she talks like that. But one thing I like that she does better than Christina Ricci, her stare. My God, this girl looks creepy and scary. Like every time she's on screen, you think she's gonna like kill somebody or something. The only time like her she breaks character is twice. There's one episode, I forget what she's doing, but she's trying to torture somebody, and I think she's holding on to a rope that has like that guillotine type thing. And she's talking in her monotone voice, but she's kind of breaking character because she's smiling and giggling a little bit, which makes it even more creepy and stuff. Then there's the episode I told you called Wednesday's Crush, where she crushes on that guy. She doesn't want him to leave, and he's only going to leave once his motorcycle is fixed. Now, he's being tortured all throughout this episode. And when it's fixed, she decides she's going to like remove like the brakes or something like that. And he crash lands again, and then she says his name and runs to him off screen. And when she does that, she breaks her voice character. It's just her normal sounding voice. Brody Smith. Now, he plays Pugsley. Sadly, Pugsley, just like in every other incarnation, doesn't do much. He's just there to get tortured by like Wednesday in the show. He only has one real story arc where he falls in love with his teacher. And like I said before, he takes one of his father's love letters and he gives it to the teacher. And so she thinks Gomez is the one in love with her. I'm not really sure there's any other episode that focus on him. Now, I do remember in the CGI movie, I was shocked that most of the storylines in that movie revolved around Pugsley. Because he doesn't really get no love in any kind of like incarnation of the Addams family. Now, Cousin It does appear about a couple of times, maybe four, maybe two, and he looks pretty much the same way he does in like the movie, but I think they added a feature to him in the show. I can't really remember. It's been a long time since I've seen this, so I'm having to rely on memory. I've only seen this show twice in its entirety. Now, there are some episodes where we get to see like their cousins, and we see another girl dressed as like Wednesday. There's another episode where they have like these hillbilly cousins and they come over, so you know what's gonna happen there. You know, goth meets like hillbilly and stuff. And so this show was just like a wacky, fun, family type show. It wasn't overly scary. It was at times overly silly. But you know, that's the reason for that was Saban and stuff. But all in all, this was like a really cool show. Every episode is on YouTube to watch. It's not on DVD, it's not on streaming. So you'll never be able to catch it there, but you will be able to catch it on like YouTube. But sometimes when the person uploads it, they uploads it in like, you know, every 10 minutes or so, because back then YouTube was different. Back then you could only upload 5 to 10 minutes and stuff, so people had to split their stuff in half. They've changed a lot since then. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.